recording, sending out the notices.
Do you want me to promote it anywhere?
Advertise, feel free. I'm just going to do it in Law's
Will you give me
servers.
the link?
Yes, link.
Linkity link link link.
Do.
Who the fuck is sending messages? I told you not to disturb me.
Do you mean it's the group chat, Pom? It's this one.
No, I had a Snapchat come up.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're promoting on Snapchat text.
I don't have Snapchat.
Exactly.
But
I have
no, there isn't
Snapchat,
one
but
on
it's
here.
private.
I'm pretty sure when I did have Snapchat, I had you on it.
Yeah, but now I don't add people.
I can't.
And I
believe
also
you've done
set
this.
all my stories to private. Even if you had Snapchat, you wouldn't be able to see my story.
I'm trying to figure out how to type and not get in the way of my microphone. Right. What should I say? Going on a stream where I explain Homestuck to someone who's never read it before. There we go.
Kidnaps and full, going to expose the Homestuck and not going to leave until he's converted.
I'm putting it on Senpai Telic Pom.
Do it. If anyone goes in, it probably we might get Cam. More viewers.
Raven, are you in my server?
No.
No. How come you're always so early to my streams then?
Because I'm in the streaming crew server.
Pom's in the streaming crew, and I'm also subscribed to your Twitch channel as well.
Are you? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was after Pom's first advertisement for your Stardew stream.
Ah, okay.
One of us.
5 o'clock, can't consider that.
You're my dad. Boogie boogie.
Wiggy, wiggy. I can't believe Sykes got so mad about that.
He got so mad because he got it stuck in his head in my voice.
Yes, he did.
Boogie woogie woogie.
Okie dokie, the stream is going for about 3 minutes now. This is nothing new for my nonsense. Okay, I am the Raven. I originally had a little plot to talk about Homestuck, to go get some guests, kidnap at least one of them to make sure they get on here, so we can talk about this thing. However, plans did not go according to how they were set out, and instead these two ambushed me in the Tesco car park, dragged me off to God knows where. I am now sat in front of a strange computer, and the sign all around me is one of us.
One of us.
One of us. Actually, to be honest, the computer's probably going to say stuff like, "You there, boy? Boy, over here, boy."
Yeah. See ya. Can you hear me?
Yes, for those in the know, I am the Raven. This is my... I can't really call him part of my crew. I call him part of the Raven crew freelancer Pom, who will never admit to be part of the crew, just come and goes and does what the hell they like.
Yeah, I obey no one.
Oh, in that case, the case of last week, we did have a game of Tetris, and for this, at least this podcast, it is currently known as the POM Canine Liberation Front, not the Raven Crew Productions.
Yep, I stole the dog.
Yes.
Pom always steals dogs. You'll never get my dog, Pom.
Never. I already have Sirius right here.
No, you'll
so
never get my dog.
I love him.
No.
And
I'm his favorite pibbling.
And on the other side...
Hello?
Is Tex.
I'm a guest star.
Special guest expert, one of two. Alas,
Or a movie star.
Alas,
No.
our third intended
Movie Star
target,
Planet.
who we wanted to kidnap, was Alex Homestuck. Alas, they were busy. I was supposed to have another member of my crew here, but they have other plans, and it's fine. So it's just me, them, and this computer keeps going, hey boy, hey boy.
You there, boy.
Oh, hey Metal. Welcome to this.
Hi, Metal.
Okay, I'm currently open on the Homestuck wiki. What is Homestuck?
Homestuck is an experience.
It is.
Homestuck, yeah, it's definitely an experience. I wouldn't say it was like a read.
When
'Cause
I
it's
first
like-
started reading it, it wasn't as long as it is.
Yeah, I think me and Pom started reading it. Well, because Homestuck is notorious for its breaks. So when me and Pom started reading it, I think we read it just at the start of what is known as the Gigapause, which is like a year or
Wasn't
so
that-
long pause.
Wasn't that the first pause, and then we had the Omega pause, and then
No, there was something before the Gigapause, but I don't know what it was. But the Gigapause is the first like longest like pause. And I think that was due to a lot of like problems, like the Kickstarter thing and all that, which we will get to. But so yeah, me and Pom
texted
joined.
research.
I don't need to do research. I just know this shit.
It's
It's
same
so
here.
bad.
Don't let them know how trash we are.
Basically,
Homestuck is a webcomic that started in the 13th of April
The 13th of April 2009.
2009.
Oh yeah, we probably should explain what Homestuck actually is first.
and lasted
A
into
young boy's
13th of April 2016, 7 years after its first publication online. And it's, what, 5,000 comic strips for over those years?
More pages, but yeah.
a young boy stands in his room. It just so happens that today, the 13th of April 2009,
2009
is this young
man's birthday.
Even though it was 13 years ago that this man was given life, it is only today that he will be given a name. What will the name of this young man be?
Oh god, I remember seeing a
Do
review.
you smell poop, Lord?
I remember seeing a review
Try again, smart ass.
on the first arc, and it was a case of audience anticipation, wasn't it? Where they had their say on how things developed.
Oh yeah, we didn't. We weren't in it when that was a thing. That
Yeah,
was really short-lived. Basically, there was a comic before called Problem Sleuth, which was kind of a small thing where a lot of the stuff was done by audience polls and stuff. But then Homestuck got so big so quickly that the author, Andrew Hussey, his name is, he had to stop. It was just too much.
Make his
Hello,
own.
hello, Phoenix.
But yeah, like I was saying before, I just went off on a rant before we even started like explaining what Homestuck actually was as a little thing. But the Gigapause, we started reading then, and that was in 2013. That was like towards the end of 2013 for me. I don't know about Palm. But,
yeah, I was started around 2013.
Yeah, that's when the Gigapause started, and then I distinctly remember October, maybe 2014, 2015, and it was the day of London Comic Con. And I was going with my friend, and we were cosplaying Homestuck. And that's when the Gigapause ended, and Game Over came out and killed me.
No, not Game Over.
Don't even Game Over. Hi, Phoenix, and hi, Dr. Metal Warrior.
Hi, friends. I'm not looking at the chat, so I'm just waiting for other people to say stuff about friends in chat. I don't know. Fucking...
I'm yeah, so with Homestuck, I think I've not read Homestuck 2, and I don't want to read Homestuck 2, but I know they were doing the thing where I think you could input like commands at one point.
I'm not looking at Homestuck 2 either.
I read Candy in the epilogues, read half of Meat, and then stopped.
Probably you're looking at Homestuck 2 at the moment, aren't you?
Huh?
You're looking at Homestuck 2 at the moment, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
No, absolutely not.
I just said I'm not.
Yes, that's usually the case when someone says that. It's a case of, yes, I am.
No.
No,
I refuse.
no. Honestly, don't even start on the end after everything
was-
after the end of Homestuck because
Okay, I was mad at the epilogue, so I refuse.
I was mad at the epilogues. I was mad at like everything after the retcon, quite honestly. But we all know, Pom, you know that.
I'm just mad that they didn't do my girl Latula justice.
They didn't do any of the Pyropes justice.
Yeah.
None of them. They didn't. What the fuck did they do to Terezi? What the fuck? Right. Well, I mean that's spoilers technically, but okay, Raven, do you have any questions?
Oh
to start
yeah,
off
yeah.
with?
Well, I went to this without a structure, so my first question is, you said when you got into it, but how did you get into it?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, mine's a bit
So-
weird.
I think I only got into it because I saw it like it was really like big on Tumblr, and I was kind of I must have been 13, 14. No, I was 13 when I started reading it. Because I started reading halfway through the first act and then I got bored, and then I left it until after my 14th birthday that year, and I started reading it again because I got interested. I was like, what are those kooky kids doing with their suburb and their real life Sims thing? But I started reading it purely because there was a post going around saying, "Oh, let's convince people that this TV show in Homestuck called Squiddles was real,"
Yes.
and convinced people it was real, and it got cancelled. So I'm up for a practical joke or two and messing with people. So even before I knew what Homestuck was, I started convincing people that Squiddles was a real thing. I think I convinced at least 2 people, and then some other people who just didn't care and just took my word for it. I don't know. It must have been in school. I was just going around saying like, "Oh my god, look at this piece of lost media! Ooh." And then after that, I was like, "Well, maybe I should actually read it." So I didn't know it was a webcomic at that point. So I typed in Google, and I distinctly remember doing this: where to watch Homestuck. And then I found a Yahoo Answers page, and it was like, haha, no, you have to read it. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's the first time I read it. I read halfway through Act 1, and I got really bored. And then October that year, I read it again, and then I read it in like a few months, and that's it. And I got obviously I got up to the Gigapause. I didn't read all of it, but you'll go, Pom.
Okay, so I think I've said this to Tex before, so Tex is gonna remember this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember what it was.
So when I first started getting into like the internet and like expressing myself instead of just being in my little private corner of like people I knew from like school at the time and whatever, the first thing I was into was Pokemon, and the first account I made, which was on Instagram, was a Pokemon roleplay account, and getting into that community and stuff. Then I got into Animal Crossing, but that is a different story. But I was bored and I kept seeing these like Pokemon like flowchart memes that people were posting. So I was like on Google Images, and I was just like, oh, I wonder if there's like more of them. And I was like looking, and I was like, I don't know what a Nuzlocke is, blah 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 blah. And then it kept coming up this like weird thing with these like grey people, and I was like, what the fuck? That's not Pokemon. But it kept coming up. I didn't know at the time, but like it was all Carcat. But and I just like, what the hell is this? So I Google, what is this grey faced cartoon thing with buttons? And then it came up with like Homestuck, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. So I went on it, and then I read the entire thing, and I was like, oh. And
All
then
right.
and then I was like, wait, what's going on? I didn't realize it was the gigapause at the time, but like, I was like, isn't there supposed to be more? And then I read it again, and as Tex knows, I read it like 3 times when I first read it.
Yeah, I mean, I read it once, and I've only been going through it again because of the musical. But like, I read things and I just kind of remember it. But
I just did it out of
I don't know.
boredom. And then I don't know how I discovered MS Part, and then I I ended
Yeah,
up
so
reading it over again.
we met, and this kind of relates into how we started reading Homestuck, I suppose. But after we read Homestuck, I don't know how I found about MS Pop, but there was this roleplay site called
Oh wait,
MS Pop.
I know how I worked it out because my first accounts were roleplay accounts. So I was like, I wonder if there's Homestead roleplay, and then MS Park came up. But I don't know about you.
I don't remember. I really don't. It must have been through Tumblr somehow, or maybe one of my friends who I don't know. Somehow I wound up on MS Pop. So, somehow with the fates, and we met in a group chat, and it was like this a house group chat. um, it was like a house party, and I was role playing as the Tudor, and Pom was role playing as Mulin, who were two trolls that you don't meet for a while in Homestuck, and they're really quite inconsequential. But
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, but at the time I was like, whatever. I'm kind of into Cam Tudor, and I also like messing around as a Tudor in general. So, yeah, because back in the day, you didn't have like a tab for group chats. You had to get invited through when you were scrolling around randomly. Um,
Gosh, we
so
could have never met each other. Wow.
we absolutely could have never met each other, and I don't know. I think I got into that group chat because someone invited me into it because I was already role playing with someone, and they were in it, and they were like, "Hey, you should join me in here."
Oh, I know. I got it with just like one-on-one, and someone just joined with the link as their name.
I remember the people who did that though.
I used to always go in them.
I didn't always because I knew like what they'd be like most of the time, but this one was different. And then someone in that chat was like, "Oh, hey, we've got another group chat," and that was Senpai Tell It. A group chat that wasn't very canon, and it was a bunch of like 14-year-olds just pissing about. And we're still friends with a few people that from there now, so which is wild.
Yeah, like one of them is still like one of my best friends, even though we didn't talk for a while.
You on about Cam?
Yeah, Cam's like my best buddy, Tex. Like as much as he is
fuck!
a
I can't believe
stinky
you done
dude.
this.
Tex, you're more than my best friend. Like you're like a sibling to me.
Good. I've got a safety pin out. I'm aiming at the screen.
No fight. No fights, no bloodshed in the podcast, please. Not this type of
And then
podcast, anyway.
and then there's Lisa, who's like just like general mum. She's lovely.
Yeah, but this isn't about Senpai Telic. This is about Homestuck. So, any more questions, Raven? Just fire them away.
This is why I wanted Yoko here, because at least he had a clue about it. I don't. All I had was, how did you get it? What the fuck is it about?
Okay, I think I can explain this quite concisely. So, it's about 4 kids, and the main one is called John Egbert. They all play this game called Suburb, which brings about the end of their universe, basically. They all get zapped out into the medium, and their job in the game is to create a new universe. But things don't always go as smoothly as you would expect, because halfway through they get like crashed in with the trolls, who are aliens from another universe who played the game, and they created our universe, the humans universe.
Oh wait, can we also say that before when they started playing, they actually did not know that they were supposed to be making a new universe.
Yeah, no, the game doesn't tell you anything. You get it all through like like they're sprites, which are like they're meant to be like little helpers, but they don't really help. It's something that you make during the like the induction, like the I
It's
don't know, like the
they're,
first level.
they're like Navi from Zelda, sort of things. They just
Really
kind
cryptic, and
of
they kind of float about and then piss off for the majority of the story.
but less of the hey look listen.
Hey, listen! Hey, listen! Hey, listen!
Yeah, less of that. They don't want to help you really.
More like hoo, 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 hoo.
You prototype things into it, and I think the majority is. I think all 4 kids prototyped some inanimate object, and then they prototyped like a dead relative or a dead animal into it, and that was it.
Some turn out better than others.
But that's not really the plot of the story. That's just like a game mechanic. Basically that's about the story. The trolls come in, and they help them create a new universe. But it turns into more of escaping the game and escaping the time loops that it creates. Because there's this big bad called Lord English, who's coming to get them, basically. And that's it without getting too convoluted and in detail.
Pretty much. So yeah, you should totally read it.
It is okay. I will say this: I really enjoyed Homestuck, but I did not like the ending. It's like Game of Thrones. I feel like that's kind of like
I was really disappointed with the ending.
Like I never watched Game of Thrones, but the way that people reacted to the ending of Game of Thrones is the way that I reacted to the end of Homestuck. So I can sympathize with him.
And yes, you are doing a musical for Homestuck.
I love Homestuck up to a certain point, and in my musical, I am planning to divert from that certain point. Maybe.
I mean, we no spoilers, but we have plans.
Yes, I've already started drafting things up.
Yes, when I upload this podcast, I shall be linking to Texie's Homestuck musical.
Please do.
You should check it out.
Yes.
It's got lots of amazing talent in it.
Yep, it's got me. I probably should have added something else onto that.
It's
Yes.
got me too, but only sometimes because I'm not in a big role.
Yeah, so it's called Homestuck the Music. It's on the King Spirals Productions channel.
Not to be confused with the live action one done by like Canada.
Or the OG one that I got inspired from that Anna was in. And they did something similar to what I'm doing, but they used their own original music rather than like just the tracks that the Homestuck music artist created. Oh dear.
But then it's kind of more literally Homestuck.
Yeah, I mean, I did pretty much what Alex, not furry Alex, Alex the Internet Man did with Undertale and all his musicals and musical bites packages, I suppose.
Promos.
Go watch them. I'm in them as well.
Go watch the spider dance.
Go to watch Spider Dance Homecoming. Spider Dance Into the Spider-Verse.
But like it's like crazy because like Homestuck like has literally, I mean, more of a text because I'm a nobody really, but like if it wasn't for Homestuck, Tex wouldn't be doing all this stuff. Tex wouldn't be being able to voice act as they do. They wouldn't be able to.
I think because I think Homestuck, like, I don't want to be cliche, but I think it did like change my life. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a fan base, or I've never like had a piece of media that's been so impactful, I suppose. Because like, once you get into Homestuck, you're never truly free, I'd say.
You would say you're stuck.
Yeah, I would say I'm stuck.
You're stuck to Homestuck.
I'm thoroughly stuck. I'm like a fly on sticky tape. Stuck to it.
Now we create a little advertisement for Homestuck the musical. Now for the real important question. Shigoi Quest for Koi
Koi Quest for
Koi the musical.
Sakura-chan, pay attention!
Where's the real part 2?
Musical part 2 is
Yes.
coming.
Yes.
My drawing tablet, the lead to it has broken, so I cannot finish it off just yet. But all the audio is done. Like half of the artwork is done.
And I'm in that one.
You are in that one. I play both Sakura Katana-chan and Terezi-chan in that, just because Alex didn't have time to do the words. I phrase that weirdly. They didn't have time to record. Sorry, but
Time to do the words.
time to do the words.
The words!
But no, I think it's really good. I mean, at this point, Alex probably could just re-record for Sakura Katana-chan, but I might just work it into part 3. Like, didn't your voice change during the last episode? No, what the hell are you talking about?
When this goes up, not only will I link to Homestuck the musical, I will also link to the video of Shigoi Quest for Kokoro the musical part 1 because it needs to be experienced.
La 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 la, shy,
I think
la, la,
you should also
shy.
link to the original series, which is complete. My musical is literally just like a musical version of Sugoi Quest for Kokoro, just using meme songs.
La la la, shy, shy.
The original is by Death420 and Miraculous Tang. So
And Tech's actually cosplayed. Sakura
yeah,
Katana.
I've actually cosplayed Sakura Katana-chan, and Death420 saw it. Death420 also saw my musical. I don't know if they know it's the same person, but they liked both. So I was also, I guess, promoting more Sugoi Quest for Kokoro things here shamelessly. I was in a rap battle as Sakura Katana-chan over on Fruzmig? Yeah, Fruzmig's channel.
Yeah, let's promote Frismig too.
I love Fruzmig. I've said this in one of my streams before, but I love Fruzmig to death.
I mean, we said how much we love. I think it was in a Stardew stream that we did.
Fruzmig does a lot of Homestuck content as well, so. I keep just promoting random things, and most of them are mine.
Well,
I
I
mean,
started
we-
it.
I mean, we did start like how many blogs, Tex?
Yeah, back in the day, we started so many. So we got into voice acting because of Homestuck.
We
Because
just got
we wanted
bored
to
one
be
day.
like all the people on YouTube that did Homestuck, like comic dubs like Athena and Case and fucking Octopimp. And who's the other one? Like Red as a Tomato or whatever. I think Red as a Tomato is still around in the voice acting community. I'm not
Or
sure
like,
what they're doing
is
though.
it Senor Pac-Man or
Senor Pac? No, Senor Pac-Man didn't do Homestuck. I'm pretty sure.
wasn't? No, I think they did like Matuna a lot.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Oh, I'm thinking of Sir Pello. Yeah.
Ah,
No, Senor Pac-Man definitely did do them. So we started one and we called it Crimson Doom Dubs.
because we had a thing called in our roleplay groups about Crimson Doom underwear or something.
Yes, it was. Oh my god. That was wild. We were 13, 14. Wow.
No, I was 14. You were 16.
At what point was this? Because I distinctly remember being 15 when we started the...
I mean, oh no, you probably would have been. I would have been 14 already, but you wouldn't have been 16 yet because it must have
We were
been
pretty
like.
much children, basically, doing this thing. And we started it off, like, on Skype or something. And we'd go into calls and we'd go through the list of Homestuck characters, and me and Pom would alternate doing character voices for
And we were
each.
terrible for all of them.
When I first started off doing voice acting, I was not good. Not good at all.
I feel like when we first started, we used to try and like copy like the like classic ones, like obviously like Athena and
Yeah, I distinctly remember trying to do Athena's Terezi, but I then developed one of my own and liked it better. So that's on me, I suppose.
I do prefer Texas to Effie.
But yeah, we made like loads of Homestuck voice acting vlogs, and that's where we met. Like, well, I don't know about Palm, but I met like a lot of my voice acting friends from there, like Anna, Articulately Composed. Um, think of me and Anna now are pretty much in every single Homestuck voice acting group. Known to man. If a new one pops up, we're both in there.
I tend to kind of be rejected in auditions.
I don't think you send auditions into the ones that some of the ones that I'm in.
Also, I took a break from the internet from my anxiety for like, was it like 3 years or something?
I don't think it was that long.
I feel like it was at least 2.
Maybe a year and a half, but it was a long time.
I was gone for a really big while, and in that time, like, all the Undertale the musical happened and everything.
Yeah, it definitely was. Oh, yeah, that was it then. Okay. Yeah, you were gone for a very long time. But I don't know how this conversation got so derailed. But yeah, me and Pom made a load of Homestuck voice acting things, and then we couldn't keep up with them because we were directing way too many, and then they all died.
Mostly because we couldn't be bothered to keep going with them. And we were like 15, so we didn't really understand like about communication and making sure to communicate with people about changes and etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then I just liked the idea of having a new group and then casting people for it. That was it. That was my favorite bit.
We just liked the casting, not the actual doing. And I remember when Crimson Doom, I was the Terezi before Tex had...
Yeah, because I couldn't do a Terezi voice. Wild.
Oh my god, and the would you care for a free life?
Would I?
Would I? Would
you know,
I?
my friend Reese voiced in this specific comic book that Pom is talking about. My friend Reese from school voiced something in it, and every so often he'll just bring it back up again when we're hanging out. I'm like, Reese, for fuck's sake. Reese is someone. Well, Roose Dodley.
Roose Dodd.
That's not his real name. Just to point that out. But when I was in school, because I read Homestuck when I was in school. If that wasn't obvious, like I reiterated it like 3 times.
What? You were that age and not at school? How dare?
How dare you? But I tried to get all my friends into Homestuck, and I think Reese is the only one that really picked it up. So me and Reese are still filthy Homestucks, and that's fine. And I've also got Reese into cosplaying as well. I also cosplay. Just to slide that in. But we're gonna go to a Comic-Con in March together, and we're gonna do some Star Wars cosplays together. Hell yeah! It was that or Jesse and James from Pokemon. I wanted to do Star Wars more. We'll do Jesse and James at some other point.
I mean, it's not like this is the last con you're ever gonna do.
I go to con at least 2 times a year, every year.
Exactly, Tex.
You know.
And when I first started off, I used to go to the London ones, and the London ones had the biggest Homestuck meets ever.
You could go for the crazy idea of just combine the ideas. Star Wars version of Jesse and James.
I thought you were going to say Star Wars Homestuck. I was like, that's already me done.
There's literally another thing about Homestuck is there's this completely separate thing which is related called the MSPA Fan Adventures, which is where people who are into Homestuck pretty much make their either like Homestuck parodies of things that existed, or made their own completely new things.
Like Kesha Stuck.
Cashew stuck. But yeah, so on there's probably like 5 different Star Wars versions of Homestuck, and
Oh no, I was on about cosplay. There's
oh yeah,
you know,
cosplaying.
like
Oh
Cabot Crunchies and JJ Pyrope and all
yeah,
them.
yeah. I mean,
They...
like it's
That's the one I
not
was thinking of when I said it's already been done. I mean, just because someone else has done it doesn't mean you can't do it, obviously.
I just mean like they like if they're not doing it cosplay from original, they've probably seen a fan venture and just cosplayed that as well.
Yeah, there was a big thing a while back for Homestuck cosplayers cosplaying like pieces of fan art. Like, Bomb, do you remember Fancy Stuck?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, Fancy Stuck was everywhere.
One artist drew all the Homestuck characters because in Homestuck you get a dream self which resides on either the moon or Prospect or Durst, which orbits around Skya, which is in the center of the medium that you create your new universe in. But you get a little dream self, and it's like your backup life, and you have yellow robes if you're on Prospect, purple robes if you're on Durst. And one artist drew all the characters in like fancy versions of their pajamas, except it wasn't like pajamas, it was like ball gowns and all that. And the cosplayers went fucking mental over them. They went
You
hog
could
wild.
you could not scroll through a Homestuck cosplay tag without seeing 20 different fancy.
You couldn't go to a Homestuck meetup and there be like there'd always be one fancy stuck cosplayer there, at least one. Actually, one of the speaking of not fancy stuck, but I cosplayed like a superhero AU, and I just distinctly remember going to like a con, and that's where I met Ed, who is now also one of my friends. But they were Kanaya, and they were really awesome to like Danganronpa and all that, and they started voicing Harmony, which I am in, and that was wild. And now they're also into Lisa. Sorry, I got on like a tangent there.
I mean, there's so many people like Lee. You met Lee
the
who?
I met right. This is another phenomenon in the Homestuck cosplaying sphere. So back in the heyday of Homestuck, cosplay blogs were like the biggest thing, and what you'd have is like a cast of cosplayers who go on every now and then, and you'd get like people asking you questions in like your inbox.
In full costume.
And so you go, onto like a gift maker. I think it was like giftmaker.me or whatever. And you go on, you full costume, you make like a little reaction image, and you post it along with the answer. And I met Lee through one of these cosplay blogs. I think it was called like Pesta Stuck or something. It was really popular. And I was just like, I just threw in my hat because the Terezi had recently opened, and Lee picked me for some reason. So I met Lee, and then Kara joined in. And Lee and Kara are like two of my best cosplay friends. Like we always go to con together. We've done group cosplays. We've met up outside of con and all of that. But Kara joined as Eridan. I think Lee was Roxy.
Lee's Roxy is my favorite Roxy though.
Lee does such a good Roxy. But yeah, that was another phenomenon in Homestuck. There were so many things that came from the Homestuck fandom that was just so wild, and I don't think they would have worked in any other fandom. But now you kind of get them everywhere. Like when you do tiers list and like the best one is like God tier, that is from Homestuck. That didn't exist before that.
It's like there's that meme where it's like every so often someone accidentally reinvents Homestuck. Like everything is Homestuck. You can look at like a popular cartoon and there'll be at least one person on their like team will be a Homestuck and will put in a Homestuck joke. And if you know, you know.
I think Sykes once said to me something the other day, and I was like, "That's just Homestuck." Like you just invented a part of Homestuck again.
The
Um,
as much as like there was loads of lovely things about Homestuck, there was also a lot which made you kind of feel kind of awkward to be part of the fandom.
yeah, there was a lot. Like, going back to cosplay again, back in like 2011, before we were even in like the fandom, it was like the wild days of Homestuck before there was any rule. Um, and like I've heard horror stories where I think it's mostly at American cons, but they hordes of Homestuck cosplayers would go in like grey paint all over their bodies, unsealed, leave like paint marks down the wall. They draw on the wall as well. And they'd like, go and harass other people in the fandom, or they go and harass like just random people from like Hitalia or something.
Oh, there was a whole thing. There was a whole thing in the past where people that liked Homestuck and people like Hetalia hated each other. It
No,
was
no, no. I thought it was like they loved each other because they were like more real fandoms or something.
no. There was like a whole hate thing. It was weird. Like I remember when I had one friend I had who was really into Hetalia. The moment I told them that I liked Homestuck, they were like, "Ew, what is wrong with you?"
They liked Hitalia though. They can't judge.
Yes.
Um,
I enjoyed Hetalia, but
there's
it's not
another
that good. It's
there's
not
a
as good as
horror another
Homestuck.
horror story. Uh, there was one girl who wanted. I think it was the night before the com. And she wanted to have grey skin, but she didn't have any paint, I think, or she might have had paint. I've never heard that part of the story. I'm just guessing.
I think I know the story. Oh god.
You do know what the story is.
Oh
So she got into a bathtub and she got a load of grey sharpies. And she tried to dye her skin grey in a bathtub of sharpie water. And like the people, like her friends or something, like must have caught her because she nearly fucking killed herself with ink poisoning. But she
Oh
wanted to dye her skin grey.
I didn't know the story. I suspected it was going to be something stupid.
what else? There was the absolute madness of people who cosplayed Gamzee and
Oh, don't.
Fago and stuff, and basically people who cosplayed Gamzee used to take it as an excuse to be a fucking dick.
Gamzee in the comic is a juggalo. I don't know if that means anything to you, but they're like people who support insane clown posse in America mostly. I've never seen a juggalo in Europe, so it must be like an America only thing. But they, yeah, he's basically one of them, and he's like the biggest dick in the comic. So people would like cosplay him, and then they'd pretend to be him. There was a story. This is a bad story, but the story I heard from someone in America who they were in like an anime convention, and they were there early to help their friend set up an art booth or something, and they saw like a Gamzee cosplayer come in, like smeared paint all over him, looked around and said, "There's so much fucking anime stuff here," and walked out.
What else? The whole bucket thing.
The bucket thing. Okay, so this is another. Most of the horror stories in Homesick fandom do this. I will put that out there. Um,
Most of them are
but
just kind of cringe.
mostly because it was like by kids who didn't
Mm.
really know better, and I feel like when you go to cons, you kind of get the people who don't usually interact well with other people. They all go there for like funsies. I mean, maybe I'm like dissing myself there because I go to con for funsies, but
You go to cons for funsies? How
for
dare!
funsies. I think like
Dungeons.
the Boku no Hero Academia fandom, they're a lot like how the Homestuck fandom used to be, cosplay wise.
Definitely.
Because I've heard some similar horror stories from them.
It's kind of
Oh.
like the Homestuck fandom right now is pretty much all grown up since like
Well,
it was a process of like 7 years of the comics, so
I
people
think
kind of grew up through it. So the earlier ones where the earlier stuff is where all the horror stories were, but as people kind of understood and there was more information about like making sure you seal your cosplay paint and stuff.
yeah, I think the majority of the Homestuck fandom now, uh, or anyone actively into it, is an older person, or like someone who's been there for a while. But there are like a load of newer like fans of it, I guess, because of like the like Homestuck 2 and the resurgence and all that, blah blah blah.
But at the same
Um,
time, now there's a lot of Homestuck elders. It's less.
there's a
There's a
lot of
lot more.
grumpy old people like me in the fandom.
How dare you like Homestuck 2? I was there when the first Gigapod.
You weren't there. You weren't there. You don't understand.
Yeah, I feel people who have been there for a while, they've either completely like forsaken the fandom forever, like they will never go back to it, or they're like me and Palm, who were kind of like, grumpy older homestucks who are like, what the fuck is this new stuff?
But you're also like, but I can't leave.
I know. So the bucket thing was in the comic. Trolls. I don't think it was like a serious thing to start off with, because anything that Hussey does with anything never starts off serious.
I
But
mean,
there
he
was a
became
joke.
an e-boy, so
Oh, don't even fucking
e-boy Hussey.
Eat Boy Hussey haunts my nightmares. Um, so the bucket thing was like a joke that trolls like reproduce and then they use a bucket, and no one ever figured out how, and I don't think anyone ever wanted to figure out how. No, people did
There's
want
a
to figure
lot of
out how,
theories, and there's a lot of questionable that are.
but basically buckets are seen as obscene in the comic, and so a lot of children cosplaying Homestuck at the time decided upon it themselves to bring buckets to cons and like hit other cosplayers with buckets.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I brought like a bucket with me was because I was cosplaying a trickster, and we had sweets in it, and we were giving other people sweets, and I don't think that was a bad thing. We went to this was in London Comic Con again, and me and my friend were cosplaying Trickster Latula and Trickster Mulin. And now Tricksters, I'll probably get them into that in a second, but
Yeah.
that's a whole different thing.
If you
Um,
got
but there was like a Trickster like Dancester group, and Dancesters are the group that Latula and Mulin they belong to.
the best
Um,
trolls.
the best Dancestors, I think. And yeah, so me and my friend, we had these like buckets of just sweets that we would just hand out because Tricksters are kind of like sweet, bright, all of that. And then because it was London Comic Con, they had like this was back before the UK had a VidCon. So they had like a VidCon area in London Con where YouTubers would just go and like hang about. So at the end of the con, we had all these sweets that we didn't want to take back. So we went round to like Tom Scar and the Eddsworld people and like Emma Blackery was there, I think. And we just went round and like offered them sweets because it was like the end of the con on a Sunday, the very last day, and they were just kind of like hanging around with nothing to do. So we were like, just do you want these sweets? Like we don't want them. I think the Eddsworld crew to like the last of them because they were like a load of chocolate bees, and they were like the bees, the bees. And we were like, have the bees.
Have you got any more questions, Raven? Because you can ramble for days.
we can absolutely.
You know, I was hoping that was the case since I've already explained I have no questions. I came into this blind and poorly planned.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what tricksters are then, since I was on that anyway.
And my apologies, but
So
one thing first is case of. I was also thinking for tomorrow's main stream will be either the Chaos Cast or we get Lantern if he's up for it to basically give his knowledge on things and we call him out bullshit if he's telling the truth or not.
One thing with tricksters is the basicness before text explains is it's a drug trip personified.
yeah, it's pretty much like drugs, but basically, in a part of the comic, the four alpha kids are offered a juju. And you know what? I've read Homestuck and I still can't tell you what the fuck a juju is. So it just take it as a fact. There's a thing called a juju and it's very powerful. And this juju was two different lollipops, one green and one red. And when you hit it together, you couldn't resist licking it or whatever. And you had like and the first alpha kid, Jane, she initially takes this drug trip and then she like infects her three other friends. But it only happened then. It never happened at any other point in the comic. But
Except there was like one like Easter
oh yeah,
egg
there was like
thing
a
with
Easter egg with John at the very start of the comic where he turned trickster. So there's the canon like John, Jane, Jake, Dirk, and Roxy trickster like mode, I suppose. But the fandom really liked this change, so they
much
did it.
like fancy tier.
Yeah, it was a lot like fancy tier, except this was like canon, I suppose. So everyone made like designs for all of them. I remember there was a very popular Car Cat one where it was like he was candy corn or something. But yeah, that was that, and then what was I?
Oh,
gonna
there was
mention?
a controversy in it as well because
Yes, Caucasian. So
when we read it, there was a page
yeah.
that I think it's Jane or Jake, and they say I'm feeling, and like in big like epileptic flashing lights word saying Caucasian with loads of exclamation marks. But some controversy happened, and now if you look at it, it will say peachy.
Peachy, yeah. This happened because there was because the characters in Homestuck, the humans especially, they're shown with like no defining like characteristics. So they've got no canon skin color, no canon body weight, except I think Jane. Jane definitely has a canon body weight because she is said to be like fat and chunky.
And she's like bullied for it by Lord English and blah blah.
Yeah. So she's the only one with like a canon body weight. But they don't have like canon heights, canon whatever. The only thing you know is that they look like they do in black and white. And because of this, I think people were like, I think some people initially were like, oh, they're all white because they're like paper white in the comic. They're drawn as paper white. So some people took this saying like, oh, all the humans are white, so you can't have like POC headcanons. So Hussey took this, and in trickster mode, he gave Jane like a peachy, typically Caucasian appearance in it because they all like had like a palette change and whatever. So that's why.
I mean, palette change. They pretty much became coloured.
Yeah, they got color basically.
They got pink hair, bright blue tights, and
it was crazy. But the the joke, well, I guess the joke, quotation marks, was that because he'd given Jane a skin color, she was now Caucasian, and then right underneath it is Jake going, no. And that was a joke. But then the people who he was trying to like, because Hussey really likes trolling the fandom, or he did. He doesn't now. He just likes fucking up his own piece of work. But he liked trolling the fandom, and that was the people who were saying, all these characters are white. You can't have any headcanons that say otherwise. He was trolling them in like support of the people who were trying to make POC headcanons, but instead he angered the people who had POC headcanons or people who were POC. So he had to change it to Peachy because everyone started complaining. And that's the controversy.
Oh my god.
And a bit of stuff before it's a case of this is the Homestuck cast, but it's also the Chaos cast at the same time. Because I have these two doing the bulk of the work.
But I mean, the main stuff is like voice acting and stuff. Like most of my experience in Homestuck is voice acting. Like and like
We're
text.
talking about like the fandom and what we do in it.
Yeah. I mean, Tex is the one that did all the cosplay and stuff. I cosplayed Mulan once for Halloween, and I did a zombie version of Roxy, which never saw the light of day because I ruined the costume when I went trick or treating.
I remember the Mulan. I think I vaguely remember you mentioning Roxy.
Yeah, I kind of broke it.
Oh dear.
I wasn't very happy with it.
Ah.
I had a really shitty wig, which I don't have anymore, and I was a little bab. That's all we can say.
Yeah, I mean, I
knee-high to a
cosplay
horse.
Terezi at least once every year.
I'm Texas Terezi. Good type. But yeah, I prefer to like convey myself through the vocal talent.
Speaking of vocal talents, one more thing that was very prominent in the Homestuck fandom was Broadway Stuck.
Cargalicious definition
Sorry.
with Terezi logo.
Even now.
The secrets that she kept pasted in my photo, dying just to know the place.
Right, so Broadway Stuck, for those out of the loop, was a phenomenon, I suppose, where people would take songs and then they'd either just flat out sing them as Homestuck characters, or they would change the lyrics and parody them to like fit the story or whatever. And then they'd sing them as Homestuck characters. And that got really popular, and me and Palm bought the fuck into it. I guess
I wrote
it kind of
so
like,
many parodies.
yeah.
I have a parody lyric book.
I think we got inspired to do that though because of Berry Siesta, who is now my apogee, I think.
Yeah.
But he'll always be Berry Siesta to me. And there was this one song called the Condescension Song, and it was a parody of the Oogie Boogie song from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I don't know why we were like fucking obsessed with that song,
Oh
and
my
then
God,
we found out who wrote the lyrics because it was like in a YouTube video somewhere. So we went to their blog, and then we found out they wrote way more than just the Condescension Song. So we had a fucking field day.
And we were already voice acting, and then we were like, we could sing as the characters.
Yeah, and that sparked things like, I think
Disney
I've only
Stuck?
had two, Disney Stuck and Broadway Tear, and then eventually the musical, which I kind of got inspired to do while I was running Broadway Tear. And then I let Broadway Tear die because of the musical.
It really did. It was mostly because though, like, I mean, for me personally, I couldn't be fucked to write parodies to like actual Broadway songs. I wanted to just write to general songs.
Yeah, I think no, with Broadway Tear we weren't that strict with it, though. I think Disney
originally
Stuck
we
was
were.
more strict. No, I think it was like you had to do like 2 Broadway songs and then you could do whatever.
Yeah, that's it. But I just couldn't be asked to write Broadway songs.
Yeah, I mean Broadway songs are really good for like Homestuck parodies anyway. But so that was our dip into it. I think Broadway Stuck died because that kind of blog, the way it was run, is you'd give people lyrics and you'd give people like access to other people's lyrics, and then it was up to them to record something and then give it to you. So you could like turn it into like a video or something.
But there was so many of those as well. Like, there was the other one that there was like audition ones like Melody Tier and Homestruck.
There was so many of these blogs, and I think
I
I was
auditioned
in
for
pretty
all
much
of them.
I think I ended up in all of them.
I think the only one I got into was Homestuck because was it Kia? You ran Homestuck?
Yeah, Kia, you were
Ki-
in Melody Tier, weren't you?
no. Kia loved my Nina, so I got into um Homestruck. But Melody Tier I only got in as lyricist, to which I
Oh
wrote
yeah.
2 parodies. I wrote one for I have no idea what people's names are. Were they called Lee too? I think they were called Lee.
Yeah, they were called Lee.
I wrote a parody for Lee, and I wrote a general light ensemble one, which never saw the light of day. Oh, and I wrote for They're a Radio too.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, the video. What happened with these blogs was there was like a main one, so it would be called like I'm just gonna use Broadway Tier as an example. So they'd be called Broadway Tier, and then as a blog, you'd have to make side blogs for all the characters you plan to cast. So it'd be like Broadway Tier, John Egbert, or whatever, and then you'd create a blog for them, and you'd link it into the cast list on the main blog, and then it was up to whoever owned the blog who got cast to post to their blog, and then you'd reblog it onto the main blog, and that was it. That's how it survived. But once it kind of started to die down in the hype, people just lost interest and they just didn't do it.
Imagine if we just randomly posted a song onto our.
Imagine. I think I still have people following me on some of my site, like some of those kind of blogs. I'm like, why are you following me? It's been years since anyone has posted.
It's madness.
Maybe they're there in the hope that I will one day post something to my blog.
But yeah, the other thing is like when we first started doing the voice acting stuff, we would literally say, "Oh yeah, I can voice every single character."
Oh, don't.
But like now we kind of went into our niches, so there'll be only like a couple of characters that I'll probably audition for. Like Tex would definitely always audition for Terezi.
If I don't get Terezi in a project, I feel like, what is the point? That's just my outlook on it.
I still go for quite a few. I mean, I have my preferences, but generally a lot of the time I'll go for Nepeta because most people's headcanons is a voice similar to mine.
See, what I used to do when I was younger is I'd audition for every single character because I wanted to be part of the project.
Same here.
But like that's even like non-Homestuck things. But now I feel like if I'm going to be part of a project, I want to be a character that I am personally invested in and will want to be motivated to record for. So that's why I only audition for like 1 or 2 characters now. So like with Undertale the musical, I was like, oh my god! When I saw mine on the internet's Undertale the musical casting call, I was immediately like reminded of the Homestuck musical that I had seen, all those years ago, and I remember seeing like there was like a casting call video for the Homestuck musical that was like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, when is the closing date? And it was like, oh, the closing date is like 2012, and it was already 2015. I was like, for fuck's sake. So I was desperate to be in a project like that. And as soon as Undertale the musical came out, and I was like, oh, this is like the Homestuck one, so I was dead set on being in it. And so I did like a few auditions. I think I initially auditioned for Undyne, Muffet, Alphys, few other characters, but it was mostly those 3 I was really interested in. And then I got the feedback, so I redid all of them because I was like, no, I need to be in this one. And I like I check up every day, like, please let me still be like the best one in this character category. But that's going off Homestuck entirely. Like that I really wanted to be in it because of Homestuck, but
yeah, Raven, you've actually heard one of my Homestuck voices before.
I find that believable.
Yeah, you can never even realize.
I've heard quite a few voices of yours.
Well, basically, Monster Prom, my voice for Polly is my Letty the Pirate voice.
Which one's Polly?
Poltergeist the ghost. Totes the goats, dude. Like, too radical.
Oh my god, that is your Latino voice. See, when I'm doing voice acting
Girl
now,
who doesn't want to be me.
when I do voice acting now, I think of my voices that they aren't Homestuck. So like, I do Miyu Iruma for Danganronpa. Sorry, voicing Harmony. I think
You actually are in Danganronpa.
wow, I was in Danganronpa V3. No, I when I'm trying to do the voices, I think of it as like a mix of like Latula and Roxy, and that's how I like
Yeah.
imagine it in my head.
Oh, it's like
So bad.
another Danganronpa one. When I do Angie, it's Mulan but slower.
Oh my god.
Like thanks,
I don't know why
Abdullah.
I think of it like that in my head. But oh, another thing that connects me is like this connects up. It's not Homestuck. But when I when I was gonna audition for when I was
This
going
is
to audition
just
for
Common Texas life
Homestuck the
story.
musical. Yeah, just have my life story. Why not? When I was going to audition for Undertale the musical, I listened to it was like an Angel Dust theme, you know, for Has Been Hotel.
I still don't know what Hasbin Hotel is. I've
never
things.
watched it, but I do love Angel Dust, and I saw like a scene that I want to say Goop's Works or something did, and it had like a really cool like whatever, and I just like the character design, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I like that character, and then I came up with a voice for it, and then it turned out Angel Dust was a guy, and I was like, oh yeah, you know what, guys can be pink as well, that's fine, but then I was like, oh, you know what, this would work for Muffet. Years down the line, my friend is voicing Angel Dust, like, but like the friend I met through voicing Harmony, where I do different like voices, and I probably wouldn't have been in it if not for Homestuck, because my friend Ed ran it. That's like a little like
so
continuous thing.
And this is why Tex is like big internet famous.
I'm not big internet famous though.
Yes, you are. It's because Homestuck.
I'm just like I just weasel my way into a few things. And that's it.
You're like a parasite that no one can get rid of.
I'm like, hey, you've got a project that looks promising. Have you heard of Tex? Would you like some Tex?
Hey, remember when you used to be Tess Barber?
Don't bring that up. No, we're not dragging that back up. We had that whole chat with Senpai Telic.
But yeah, generally, remember when you used to be Tez rather than Tex?
Yeah,
and then Tex was a typo, and now you're just Tex.
Yeah, so that was weird. I was called Tez like online because of Homestuck, obviously, where me and Pom would run our many Homestuck blogs. We would be mod Tez and mod Pom, I think.
Yeah, I've always been Pom. I've never been anything different.
Yeah, because of Pom versus Wi-Fi, or like Pom needs Wi-Fi. That's it. So I think one of the friends that I'd made, we are no longer friends, but I think they commented on one of my cosplay pictures recently. I was like, how the fuck are you still following me? Like, I don't remember you following me again, but
Wait, do I remember this person?
I'm trying to remember. You would, because they were in a lot of our projects. They were like a radio all the time or something, and we were really close, and then a lot of drama happened, and we weren't close again. But they like started typing Tex instead of Tez, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. I'm gonna take that. That's mine now.
You're just gonna hide the fact you're a filthy Homestuck with one letter.
One letter. That's it. That's all I'm gonna hide it with.
Oh, are you from Texas? No, I'm actually a host.
I get asked if I'm from Texas so much because of my name. And I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, No, I'm
that's.
not from Texas. Have you ever heard my voice?
Tex. You could be worse. You could be called Palm and have people say, "Oh, I misread your name as blah blah blah."
Yeah, I've seen people say that to you, Pom.
Every time. But do you really think I call myself that? Like, honestly.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Especially with your like aversion to anything
oh
of
my
that
god,
nature.
I'm like very repulsed. But like it's like the most annoying thing is when I try to sign up for like websites and they like you cannot have profanity and it's like my name is fucking Pom.
Now I'm just waiting for you to
Where's
pop.
the profanity?
Now I'm just waiting for you
What's
to
your
pop
profanity?
up once and your name is fucking Pom. There's the profanity.
What was that on? It's like I know that was like on
What's your profanity?
it was on like a storage thing, but it was like on the end of a vine as well. What was it? It was like mother trucker dude. I heard like a butt cheek on a stick. What's your profanity?
It's just a random comment, but imagine, but she says
You could either you watch your profanity or hey, you're cruising for a bruising.
Bagoush.
you say you ease your way into other projects. Somehow I just imagine it's a case of, oh yes, somehow the news gets us on doing another podcast on this topic, or we're just doing the karaoke version of the podcast, and it's, how do you get in here?
Yeah. At that point, like some points are like people will start a project and I'll already be there, like some kind of cryptid. They'll start up a Discord server and I'll be there waiting. Like, hello,
It's
I
literally.
heard you're making a project.
I mean, even I get it. It's like, haven't I seen you somewhere before? And I'm like, well, you could see me here, or here, or here, or here, or maybe here, or maybe even here, or maybe this one, or maybe that one.
I've been recognized from a few things, you know, in completely unrelated projects sometimes. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, hello, that's me. What's up? But I don't like, I know, Pom, you say I'm like super big internet famous. I don't consider myself like that at all.
I mean, from my perspective, you are, because like, from where we started, you kind of branched off a lot more than I did. So, in my perspective, you're a lot bigger than I am.
I mean, true, but also in the grand scheme of things, I'm just chilling, you know? I'm just vibing. I'm here still with my Homestuck. I still want to do Homestuck projects. Like, aside from my musical, I still want to do a lot of different Homestuck things.
I mean, you can never escape, so.
You can't. You really can't ever escape. Like, as much as I've become get disenchanted, I guess is probably the best word for it, with the Homestuck canon, or lack of canon, I guess. Or the way that it's taken. I will still always love Homestuck and keep it like near and dear to my heart. Especially Terezi. I love Terezi Pyrope so fucking much.
You don't just love Terezi, you are Terezi.
I feel like if I was someone who was inclined to be a Kinney, I would be a Kinney of Terezi
Don't
Pyrope.
judge me, Tex.
But I'm not inclined to be a Kinney.
Let me and Pfeffles be our Kinney selves.
Fucking Kinneys. But no,
I have a whole tab on my Tumblr dedicated to the characters I kin with.
See, it's really weird for me because I see a picture of Terezi Pyrope and I'd be like, oh, that's me. Wait,
Yeah,
hold
you filthy
on.
Kinney.
Hold on, that's not me. But at this point, it's like, well, like I don't know. I feel like my life has just revolved to become similar. Because I think I was telling Lee, the person, my cosplay friend, when I first started university, what I was studying, and she was like, Tex, what are you studying? I was like, criminology. And she was like, stop being Terezi fucking Pyrope, you stupid Homestuck trash. And I was like, I'm literally not even trying. I'm not. I swear I'm not like trying to revolve my life around this one character. It just ends up like that.
I mean, like you said, like one of the like things that really drew you to Terezi was like her whole seeing through smell and stuff. Like she said that you had some kind of synesthesia with colors and
Yeah, my whole draw towards Terezi Pyrope is because she, as a character, is a lot like myself. And that's it. That's probably why she's my favorite character, to be honest. But um yeah, I like in the canon, Terezi is a blind girl because Vriska mind controlled her and forced her to look into the sun. Which is not just a thing your parents tell you not to do. In on alien worlds, the sun genuinely fucking kills people. Um,
like her ancestor.
yes. But in the comic, Terezi then connects to like her dragon Lucis parent thing, who is still in an egg. And the dragon tells her how to like smell and see, like see without her eyes. So she uses like her nose and her tongue to see. So she like smells and tastes colors and all that. And I can like somewhat smell colors. And I was like, wow, synesthesia. Let me jump right into that. But yeah, that's my love for Terezi Pyrope, and I'm so fucking salty. I'm so fucking salty.
I
Really are salty.
I am going to call this podcast Homestuck and the Life of Times of Tex.
It really is just my
This
life
is life
story.
And like, there's no point in having my life story because my life story is pretty much, yeah, what Tex did.
I mean, it's not my life story, but it's my Homestuck life story, really. Like,
Yeah, so basically, Tex's real life story is in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the
in West Texas.
um, in the bin is where they spent most of their days.
We really haven't talked about Homestuck a lot, like as a comic. Have we?
I mean, there isn't really much to say. It's more. I always say to people that like the comic really isn't Homestuck. It's really the experience of the fandom of being involved with it, and like I feel really bad for people now getting into it because like even with Homestuck 2 and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, like
I
they don't
think,
have the
like-
experience of like the years waiting for an update and
I think that's really what stuck with me because when you read Homestuck, you can
It-
read it from start to finish now, and it won't be the same experience as if you'd read it like while it was still updating. Because even with Homestuck 2, it's quite regular.
it's like
So-
it really fostered the community because like you had nothing to do between the pauses. You never knew it was going to update again, so you had to like find your stuff elsewhere, and that's why so many
Yeah, you had
comics
to
were
make a
made
lot
and-
of fan content to keep yourself satiated. And that's where a lot of these, like, you know, the cosplay stuff, the voice acting, all of that kind of like culminated and made like the culture of Homestuck. So to be a Homestuck now, I feel like is different than if you were a Homestuck, you know, 5, 6, however many years ago.
But
Or maybe
we're
even
still-
10, like you could say 10. It's been 10 years now.
But we're just grumpy old Homestuck.
Yeah, I'm a grumpy old Homestuck, and I don't like the retcon, and I don't like the way that the Homestuck is going right now. But
Kids these days and their Homestuck too.
I know.
Back in my day, there was only one Homestuck.
however, I do appreciate everything that Homestuck has been and continues to be for me in my heart. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that went on that made the creator want to maybe like rush it or whatever. But then I don't know. When the ending first came out, a lot of people were disappointed. And there was a lot of rumors going on that maybe it was like a ghostwriter or he just wanted to finish it and move on to something else. Because back in the Gigapause, I think there was like a mention of how Homestuck was only like the start and Hussey was going to do something bigger and better and completely different afterwards. So everyone was like, oh, I can't wait to see what it is because, if you wrote Homestuck, then what else are you going to write?
Like, the other thing with Homestuck was, like, the things he did before, like Problem Sleuth and what was it?
Bard Quest?
That's it, Bard Quest. Like, they were really short, and, like, again, with the audience participation and stuff, like, they were supposed to be really short things, small things, but Homestuck became so big that it just kind of kept going. It didn't feel right for it to have an ending, so it just kept going, because
there was so much to like get through because he'd set so much up. The thing is, right now, if you asked Hussey, did he plan everything from the start, he would say yes. But actually, if you'd asked him about 5 years ago, he would have said no. And it was very common knowledge.
He
very
never
common
knew
knowledge
what
that he
the fuck he was
never.
doing.
Yeah, he just did it updates like as he went along. Like any fanfic writer would do. I don't. Maybe that's just my personal experience of fanfic writing. I don't plan out my fanfics.
And it's like the
chapter
pauses
by chapter.
happened. The pauses happened when he actually like took time to like think, oh wait, what was I gonna do here?
Yeah, and that was why there were so many like pauses because he'd actually have to like plan out whatever. But with the ending, I thought it was bad because he'd rushed it. But actually, he's still going on to create Homestuck content. He was not tired of Homestuck. And the books that came out, I think he's added commentary. And maybe this is just like the Homestuck scandal, and I'm being a conspiracy theorist. But he's added parts on, like comments onto like the first few acts. There, like I planned this, I put this in because blah blah blah, and subverting expectations. Like, shut up, Stephen Moffat. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. I was there. I remember you saying. I don't know.
Do not speak this.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
No, isn't it? It's the Narnia thing where it's like, do not speak to me of the blah. I was there.
Yes. It's like, do not speak to me before of the dawn of time. I was there. I would be able to quote it, but
yeah. Oh my god. Speaking about that, I see all like people like, especially like people that are into like Homestuck from Homestuck 2 now. Like they're finding like the old content, and I'm just like, you did.
Yeah. That's the thing with the old content. Like the Panty Raid comic.
Yeah.
There was a really classic comic about some boys in Homestuck doing a panty raid on some of the girls. And yes, looking back on it, maybe it wasn't the best topic to do a comic on. But it was really like
liking to Belgraph.
I don't know, it was really iconic and like it was done in a comedic way. So while you knew maybe it wasn't morally good to go and steal underwear from someone else, it wasn't like bad. As in like, it wasn't some of the other things that you could have maybe written a comic on and have tried to pretend it was good. But now people are finding it and they were like cancelling the creator, which is wild because the creator cancelled themselves years ago and like it's not been on the internet for years. But
it's like the people are finding the Octopimp comic dubs, and
yeah,
and it's like
they're just finding all this old content, and it's wild because when you were there when it was being released, it was like, oh yeah, this has been forever. You just think that everyone knows it, and then people are like, oh my god, look at this thing I discovered, and you're like, hold on.
When I joined the fandom, Octopimp was still in the fandom.
Yeah. Oh my god. So Octopimp is a voice actor. I guess he's professional now.
He must be.
That's what I've heard anyway. I don't know if he is actually professional or if he's just doing something else. I
know one of the jobs he has done. He's actually played the narrator for Monster Prom.
Oh, there we go. Maybe he is a professional voice actor now.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So he's doing better things than Homestuck dubs. But he was very popular Homestuck voice actor, and he did Eridan and
But I mean,
oh my god,
he
everyone latched onto his Aridin headcanon point.
but at the same time, he left the fandom in really bad spirit. I can't remember what happened, but like,
I think people were just really mad at him because of his Aridin stuff.
yeah, people kind of got a bit pissy about how like everyone who did voices would copy his voice, and he wasn't original, even though he was literally just doing it for fun.
I think originally he like parodied Aridin, and then people took that as canon.
And I don't think he ever read the comic at the start, and like people were like, "Well, you never read it, so."
Yeah. Another person who was quite a famous Homestuck voice actor was the voice actor for Deku in the Boku no Hero Academia English dub. he was quite prevalent in the Homestuck fandom, you know, back in the day, and he did like a lot of like signless speeches, I think. But I bumped into his girlfriend. Yes. I bumped into his girlfriend on a fan server for Kachako.
Text.
Yeah.
Stop having connections.
I literally only spoke to her once, so it's not like a connection.
I'm joking. Like, well, actually, this person.
But I just think it's so wild. Like, all these old Homestuck voice actors, you know, they're getting proper jobs in voice acting now, which is wild to me. I don't know.
I mean, and then except for like Case, who I don't know what they go by now.
Case still goes by Case, I think.
Well, their thing. No, I mean like their thing. We used to be like fade into Case, but I don't know if it changed. But like they went into like music, and their music is so good.
I think they're still like semi-active in Homestuck, because were you part of Anna's Broadway Stuck panel?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, they were in the broadcast for it. They weren't like in the cast, but they dropped into like the live stream.
Yeah, I think no, they did their own version of Carcalicious.
Yeah.
It was like a whole joke. Like if something happened, then they literally cover Carcalicious.
I think it was like a Patreon thing, probably. Yeah, but yeah, they're still active somewhat in the fandom. But a lot of like the old Homestuck voice actors, they're like, you know, actual real voice actors now, which is wild to me.
I don't know Athena. The problem I had with Athena is like, I always remember I hated her Terezi but loved her Latula, and I used to get so frustrated how she was always Terezi on things.
I mean, I think Athena and I also share a deep, deep love for Terezi Pyrope, but that's probably it. But
I was like, I always preferred her Latula.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of popular voice actors back then, but yeah. Oh, hello, Rugnar's in the chat. Hello.
Oh, hello.
He said started to recently watch Octopimp's Homestuck videos and find them entertaining, and discovered that he and Toby Fox actually dubbed a video together. Wow. Okay. Oh yeah, Toby Fox, creator of Undertale, was part of Homestuck's music.
Megalovania was in Homestuck, so Sandstands,
Get Out. But yeah, Toby Fox was originally part of Homestuck's music crew and created a lot of iconic tracks. I will say that.
And The Baby Is You.
The Baby Is You. Hasn't he?
Didn't
he create music for the new Pokemon?
I think I saw something about that.
Yeah, he created music in the new Pokemon game, Sword and Shield. But again, you know, here's another story of people who were involved in Homestuck and being like really successful. I think the people who made Steven Universe, there were some people in that who were part of Homestuck. I know in The Good Place, I don't know if they were like part of the Homestuck team or if they were just into Homestuck. But some people who work on The Good Place, they were, well, you know, there's a lot of Homestuck references in The Good Place and Netflix if you know where to look. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, like Snoop Dogg was into Homestuck because he was shown the layout.
I don't think he was into Homestuck, but Snoop Dogg was sent
He liked the
fan
layons.
art. Snoop Dogg was sent fan art of him and like two trolls smoking weed, and he was like, "Hell yeah, this is dope." So he was aware of Homestuck, and I know Dante Basco.
Dante Basco was
King Dante Basco, voice of Zuko, guy who played Rufio in Hook. He is thoroughly into the Homestuck fandom, all because he was like mentioned in the comic.
I think he also tried to get
I know he made a
was it
music
Grey
video.
Delisle? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
But
I know
one of the
Dante
voice
Basco made a
actors
music
from-
video.
One of
About
the voice actors in Avatar, because Dante Basco was voice actor in Avatar. He was trying to get loads of them into it too. Like he really.
Oh my
loved
god, really?
Yeah. I think it was Grey. I don't remember. I don't know who voices Azula. I think it's Grey. But there was a thing that I think he managed to get her to dub over a Briska thing with
my
like her
God.
Azula voice.
Oh God.
No, she should have done Damara.
Now, don't mind me, but it's a case of the stream has run an hour and a half. We're nearing 10 o'clock. I know someone wants to be on their way for it, so I'm going to be.
It's not that okay. It's me, but it's not that I have to be on my way for it. It's just that in my uni accommodation, you have to be quiet after 10 o'clock, otherwise you get a noise complaint. So
That was the part of our stream.
We are not doing the Aimless Art live stream. But yes, just to make it easier for Texas, I'm going to.
I'd like not to get kicked out of my accommodation if I can.
So yes, we'll cut it for now. Thank you to Palm for streaming the freelancer. They are. Thank you for Tex for coming along for this.
To tell my Homestuck life story.
Yeah, this is basically just like, hey, Tex is my sibling. Like, let them speak about their life story.
Siblings.
Siblings.
Thank you to the
Your name used to be Moira.
Thank you to the audience for coming to listen to this thing. We will be doing another stream tomorrow. Tex has their own thing to be doing and not part of the crew, so there.
I'm not allowed.
Yes, I will get a word in bloody edgeways.
I'm banned from the channel.
Oh my god. We forgot about the shipping.
We don't have time to go into the shipping.
We don't have time. It's nearly 10 o'clock.
There's so much. There is so much.
If anyone wants to get into the shipping themselves, they can look it up.
Yes. Well, that's thank you for me. Thank you for me. Thank you for them. This, that, and the other.
Bye.
Peace out, people.
Bye.